The Paradise Colony, the morning sun of Eden Prime, painted the sky in shades of orange and pink. Commander Alex walked along the observation deck of the colony's main tower, his coffee growing cold in his hand. Below him, the settlement stretched for miles. White buildings caught the sunlight, and green parks dotted the landscape like emeralds on white cloth. 15,000 humans called this place home. They had come here 5 years ago, drawn by the promise of work and a better life. The planet held valuable minerals deep in its crust, the kind that made starship engines run faster and weapon systems more efficient. It was honest work, and the pay was good. Alex stopped to watch a group of children playing in the nearest park. Their laughter reached him even through the thick windows. Their teacher, a young woman named Maria, supervised them with a patient smile. She had arrived just last month from Earth, eager to shape young minds on the frontier. "Commander, you need to see this." The voice belonged to his security chief, David. The man's face was pale. Alex followed David to the command center. On the main screen, sensor data painted an ugly picture. 7 ships approached Eden Prime. They were bigger than anything the colony could handle. Their design was unfamiliar, all sharp angles and weapon ports. "Have you tried communicating?" Alex asked. "Yes, sir. We've sent greetings in 43 languages." No response. The ships grew closer. Alex could see them now through the window, dark shapes against the morning sky. His hands trembled as he activated the colony-wide alert. All civilians to emergency shelters. This is not a drill. The response came not in words, but in fire. Plasma beams struck the colony's shield generator first. The protective dome that covered the settlement flickered and died in seconds. Then came the ground forces. They were monsters from nightmares. 8 feet tall, covered in scales that shimmered green and black. 4 arms, each ending in clawed hands that held weapons humanity had never seen. They moved through the colony's streets like a tide of death. Alex watched the security feeds in growing horror. The colony's small security force, only 200 strong, fought with everything they had. But their weapons barely scratched the invaders' armor. One by one, the defenders fell. In the residential district, families ran for the shelters. But the aliens were faster. They broke down doors, pulled people from their hiding places. They showed no difference between soldiers and civilians, between adults and children. All were targets. The medical center became a tomb. Dr. Tom, an old man who should have retired years ago, refused to leave his patients. Alex watched him stand between the invaders and a room full of injured colonists. The doctor held no weapon, only raised his hands in a gesture of peace. The aliens cut him down without hesitation. In the school, Maria gathered her students in the basement. 23 children, the youngest only 6 years old. She told them stories to keep them calm as the sounds of destruction grew closer. When the doors burst open, she stood in front of them, arms spread wide. The security feed cut out, but Alex heard the screams. The command center shook as explosions rocked the colony. David was bleeding from a head wound, but he kept working, trying to get the distress signal out. "Message away," he said. "Earth will know what happened here." The door to the command center exploded inward. Alex saw the alien commander enter, its 4 arms moving in what might have been satisfaction. It spoke, its voice like grinding metal, in accented but clear English. "Your minerals now belong to the Korvax Empire. Your species was in the way." Those were the last words Alex heard. 3 days later, Admiral Carter's rescue fleet found Eden Prime silent. The colony was gone, replaced by mining equipment already tearing into the planet's surface. Among the ruins, they found the school. On one wall, children had drawn pictures of Earth, the home most had never seen. The papers were stained with blood. The images reached every human world within a week. The galaxy watched, waiting to see what humanity would do. The Korvax Empire sent a message: learn your place, or share their fate. In the darkness between stars, humanity gave its answer. Not in words, but in the building of ships, the forging of weapons, and the making of a promise that never again. Asterisk, the quiet preparation Earth's response surprised everyone. After the initial outcry, humanity went quiet. They withdrew their ambassadors from the Galactic Council. They closed their borders to alien traders. They stopped attending diplomatic meetings. To the rest of the galaxy, it looked like humanity had accepted its place as a minor species. Too afraid to challenge the mighty Korvax Empire, the Galactic Council sent messages of sympathy. "This is the way of things," said the council speaker, a being from a species that had suffered similar losses centuries ago. "The strong take from the weak. You must adapt or perish." But behind closed borders, humanity was neither adapting nor perishing. They were preparing dot in the shipyards of Mars. Welders worked around the clock. New vessels took shape in the darkness, hidden from alien sensors by fields of artificial debris. These weren't colony ships or traders. Every line, every system, every bolt was designed for one purpose: war. General Stone stood in the observation bay of Shipyard 7, watching a destroyer take shape. His daughter Lisa had been on Eden Prime. She was 8 years old, loved to draw butterflies, and had sent him a message the day before the attack saying she had made a new friend. He kept her last drawing in his pocket, a picture of their family that would never be whole again. "How many ships?" He asked his aide, Captain Ross. 47 completed, sir. Another 120 in production. The Ghost Fleet grows daily. The Ghost Fleet. Ships that didn't exist on any official record. Built in secret facilities, crewed by volunteers who had officially died in accidents. Every crew member had lost someone on Eden Prime. They didn't need speeches about duty. They had all the motivation they needed dot in the research labs of Jupiter's moon Europa. Dr. Chon worked 18-hour days. The Korvax had left debris from their weapons on Eden Prime. Foolish. Or perhaps they simply didn't think humans were smart enough to reverse engineer their fright. Technology. Chun had proven them wrong. The new plasma cannons could punch through Korvax shields. The armor coating, based on their enemy's own design, but improved with human innovation, could take direct hits. But his greatest creation was something the galaxy had never seen: jump missiles. Weapons that could make tiny hyperspace jumps, peering inside enemy shields before detonating. "We're not just matching them," Sean told his team. "We're surpassing them." On Earth, President Walker played her role perfectly. She gave speeches about peace and acceptance. She signed trade agreements that made humanity look weak and desperate. She even sent tribute to the Korvax Empire, worthless minerals disguised as valuable offerings. Let them think humans were broken dot in reality. Every human colony was being fortified. Children learned emergency drills alongside their regular lessons. Adults trained with weapons after their day jobs. The old became teachers, passing on every bit of knowledge about survival and resistance that the military academies changed their curriculum. Gone were lessons about defense and peacekeeping. Now they studied the great wars of human history. They learned about ambushes and guerrilla tactics. They studied how smaller forces had defeated larger ones throughout time. Most importantly, they studied the Korvax. Every piece of intercepted communication, every observed ship movement, every scrap of intelligence was analyzed. Humanity learned their enemies' patrol routes, their supply lines, their weaknesses. The Korvax had 47 agricultural worlds that fed their empire. Their shipyards were concentrated in 3 systems. Their command structure was rigid, slow to adapt. Captain Ross brought General Stone another report. "The other species are buying our act. The Korvax are so confident, they've reduced patrols near our borders. Stone nodded, still watching the destroyer take shape. Good. How many volunteers for the Ghost Fleet? 3 million and counting, sir. We're having to turn people away. 3 million humans who had officially ceased to exist. 3 million who had given up their names, their lives, everything for a chance at justice. They trained in hidden bases on asteroids and dead moons. They learned to operate the new weapons, to fly the new ships. The galaxy thought humanity had gone quiet out of fear. They were wrong. Humanity had gone quiet because you can't hear the blade being sharpened in the dark. You can't see the storm gathering beyond the horizon. In 6 months, the Ghost Fleet would be ready. 6 months, and the galaxy would learn what happens when innocent blood is spilled. Asterisk. The first strike, the Korvax supply station at Nexus Point, was considered untouchable. It floated in deep space, protected by 3 battle cruisers and a network of defensive platforms. It supplied fuel and weapons to half the Korvax fleet. The station commander, Marshal Voss, was so confident in its security that he was asleep when the first alarm sounded. He never made it to the command center. 120 human ships appeared from hyperspace in perfect formation. They didn't announce themselves. They didn't demand surrender. They simply opened fire. The jump missiles were devastating. They bypassed shields entirely, appearing inside Korvax ships before detonating. The battle cruiser Pride of Korvax broke in half, its crew still trying to understand what was happening. The defensive platforms, designed to stop conventional attacks, were useless against weapons that could teleport past their defenses. General Stone watched from the bridge of the flagship Remember Eden. His face showed no emotion. As Korvax ships burned, station shields are down. Captain Ross reported. Shall we accept their surrender? Did they accept Eden Prime's surrender? Stone asked quietly. No, sir. Then we follow their example. The station died in 15 minutes. But humanity wasn't done. This was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, synchronized to the second, the Ghost Fleet struck. Supply depots burned. Patrol ships vanished. Communication relays went dark. In 1 hour, humanity hit 47 targets. Every strike was perfect, planned for months, executed with precision that would have made ancient Earth generals proud. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. The council speaker's voice shook as he addressed the assembly. The humans. They're not what we thought. On the council's main screen, footage from the attacks played. Human ships moved like predators, hitting hard and fast before vanishing into hyperspace. Their weapons were unlike anything seen before. Their tactics were brilliant and ruthless. The Korvax Empire's response was swift and predictable. Admiral Kor, their supreme commander, gathered a fleet of 200 ships. We will crush these insects, he declared. They got lucky with surprise attacks. In open battle, they will learn why we rule. He chose the Void Gates as his battlefield. It was a strategic location, a crossroads of hyperspace routes. Control it, and you controlled movement through that section of the galaxy. Admiral Kor positioned his fleet and waited. General Stone knew he would be there. Humanity had been reading Korvax communications for months. They knew how Admiral Kor thought, knew his pride would demand a decisive battle. Stone brought 50 ships. Less than a quarter of Kor's force. The battle began at dawn, Earth time. The Korvax fleet advanced in their traditional formation, a wall of firepower that had crushed a dozen species. Their first volley could have destroyed a moon, but the human ships weren't there. They had jumped, not away, but behind the Korvax formation. Micro-jumps lasting fractions of a second, impossible by conventional understanding. The Ghost Fleet appeared inside the Korvax formation, among their own ships. Chaos. The Korvax couldn't fire without hitting their own vessels. Their rigid command structure, so effective against conventional enemies, crumbled. Orders contradicted each other. Ships collided trying to reposition. The humans showed no such confusion. Every ship knew its role. Strike teams targeted command vessels. Destroyers hunted support ships. The new plasma cannons, improved versions of Korvax's own weapons, tore through shields and armor. Admiral Kor's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, lasted 12 minutes. Stone's ship appeared directly above it, so close their shields merged. The jump missiles didn't need to travel far. They materialized inside Kor's bridge. The Admiral had just enough time to understand he had been outsmarted before the end came. The battle was over in 1 hour. 200 Korvax ships became debris. 50 human ships jumped away, only 3 showing significant damage. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. The Korvax Empire, which had seemed invincible for centuries, had lost its largest fleet. The humans, who everyone thought were broken and weak, had won without losing a single ship. Other species began to reassess. The Altari Confederation, longtime enemies of the Korvax, sent a message to Earth. We wish to discuss an alliance. But President Walker's response was simple. We're not done yet. The message was clear. This wasn't about alliances or politics. This was about Eden Prime. This was about the children who never came home. The galaxy was learning a terrible truth. Humans didn't just fight wars. They ended them. The Burning Path. 3 months after the Void Gates, the Korvax Empire was dying. Not slowly, not peacefully, but in fire and darkness. The Ghost Fleet had become death itself, appearing from nowhere, striking without warning, leaving nothing behind. The agricultural world of Harvest 7 burned for 3 days. Its vast fields, which had fed the Korvax military for generations, became ash. When rescue ships arrived, they found a message carved into the largest continent, visible from orbit. Eden Prime had farms too. General Stone stood on the bridge of Remember Eden, looking at the tactical display. Red markers showed destroyed Korvax assets. There were so many, the map looked like it was bleeding. "Sir," Captain Ross said quietly, "the Galactic Council is requesting communication." "Again. Let them wait." Stone replied. The Council had been trying to intervene for weeks. They spoke of mercy, of proportional response, of the rules of civilized warfare. Stone had finally responded with a single transmission. Footage from Eden Prime. The burning schools. The dead children. After that, the Council stopped calling as frequently. But not everyone was silent. Some human voices began to question. A reporter from Mars Colony had managed to embed with the fleet. Her name was Jane Park, and she was young enough to still believe in absolutes. General, the Korvax colony on Taris 4 had civilians, families, children. She said during an interview. Stone turned to her, his eyes cold. Eden Prime had children. 23 in the school alone. I know their names. Would you like me to recite them? But doesn't that make us like them? No, Stone said. It makes us survivors. They taught us this lesson. We're simply proving we learned it well. The Korvax tried to negotiate. Emperor Drax himself sent a message offering reparations. Minerals, technology, even entire systems. We acknowledge our error, he said. Let us discuss terms. President Walker's response was broadcast to the entire galaxy. You acknowledged nothing when Eden Prime begged for mercy. You acknowledged nothing when children screamed. The time for words is past. The Ghost Fleet pressed on. The shipyards of Korvax Beta, where their warships were born, became molten metal. The military academy on Warrior's Rest, where young Korvax learned the art of conquest, collapsed into rubble. Every strike was precise, targeting military and infrastructure, but humanity no longer distinguished between military and civilian targets. They had learned from their teachers. Other species watched in terrified fascination. The Altari, who had initially celebrated Korvac's losses, now sent messages urging restraint. The Zelani Commonwealth, neutral for 500 years, began fortifying their borders. Not against the Korvacs, but against humanity. Captain Ross found General Stone in his quarters one night, looking at a picture. It was his daughter Lisa, smiling, holding a butterfly she had drawn. "Do you think she would understand?" Ross asked. Stone was quiet for a long moment. "I think she would want other children to be safe. And the only way to ensure that is to make sure everyone in the galaxy knows the price of spilling innocent human blood." The campaign continued. Jump missiles became the nightmare of every Korvac's commander. Human ships, painted black with the names of Eden Prime victims on their hulls, appeared and disappeared like phantoms. The Korvacs fleet, once 40,000 ships strong, was reduced to less than 5,000 in 6 months. But the defining moment came at Korvax Prime, their homeworld. The Ghost Fleet appeared in full force. 300 ships, every human vessel built in secret, formed a ring around the planet. The Korvax home fleet, their last defense, prepared for battle. General Stone broadcast one message: "You have 1 hour to evacuate any who you wish to save." Emperor Drax himself responded, "Please, we have billions of civilians. Eden Prime had 15,000. You gave them 18 hours. We're giving you one. Be grateful." Some Korvax ships tried to run, loading whoever they could. Others stayed to fight. It didn't matter. When the hour ended, humanity struck. Not to conquer, not to occupy, but to end the threat forever. The orbital defense platforms went first. Then the shipyards, the military bases, the government centers. Every symbol of Korvac's power was systematically destroyed. The planet itself survived, but the Empire was dead. As Korvax Prime burned, General Stone sent one final message to the galaxy: "We didn't start this war, but we're ending it." Let Eden Prime serve as a reminder. Humans can be your greatest friends or your worst nightmare. Choose wisely. The galaxy had witnessed something unprecedented. A species that had gone from victim to victor in less than a year. The burning path humanity carved through the Korvax Empire would be remembered for millennia. Asterisk. The new order 1 year after Eden Prime's fall, the galaxy looked very different. The Korvax Empire, which had dominated for 8 centuries, existed only in history books. Their surviving population, scattered across refugee worlds, no longer posed a threat to anyone. They had learned the same lesson they once taught: the strong survive, the weak perish. The Galactic Council Chamber was fuller than it had been in decades. Species that had hidden for generations came to witness the new reality. At the center stood President Walker, no longer playing the role of a weak leader. Behind her, General Stone and the commanders of the Ghost Fleet stood in uniform, their presence a silent reminder of humanity's new hour. "The Eden Doctrine," Walker announced, her voice carrying across the chamber. "It's simple. Any attack on human civilians, any assault on our colonies, any spilling of innocent human blood will be met with total war. Not proportional response, not measured retaliation. Total war." The council speaker, ancient and wise, asked, "And if others adopt this same doctrine?" "Then perhaps," Walker said, "the galaxy will finally know peace through the promise of mutual destruction." The doctrine was more than words. Humanity revealed the true extent of their military buildup. Not just 300 ships, but over 1,000, with more in production. Defense platforms around every human world, each equipped with jump missiles. A standing army of 5 million, trained and equipped with reverse-engineered and improved alien technology. But humanity didn't just bring destruction. They also brought something unexpected: protection. The Velen Republic, a small civilization of peaceful traders, sent a distress signal. Pirates were raiding their shipping lanes, stealing cargo and killing crews. The Galactic Council, as always, offered only words of sympathy. 3 human destroyers arrived within days. The pirates, used to easy prey, didn't even try to run. They had heard stories of human ruthlessness, but thought them exaggerated. They learned otherwise. The human ships disabled the pirate vessels in minutes, then broadcasted the execution of every pirate to the entire sector. The message was clear. Those who prey on the innocent will find no mercy from humanity. Within months, dozens of smaller species requested protection agreements with Earth. Humanity agreed, but the terms were strict. No aggression against other protected species. No slavery. No targeting of civilians in any conflict. Break these rules and face the same fate as the Korvax, the galaxy's bullies. Species that had grown fat on the suffering of others suddenly found themselves very careful. The Dominari Syndicate, known for slave raids, announced they were transitioning to legitimate trade. The warrior clans of Thresh, who had raided border worlds for generations, signed non-aggression pacts with everyone. General Stone retired 6 months after Korvax Prime. He returned to Earth, to a small house by a lake. But he didn't go alone. Thousands of Eden Prime orphans had been taken in by human families across Earth and her colonies. Stone adopted 6 of them, children who had hidden in a maintenance tunnel and survived the massacre. At night, he would tell them stories. Not of war, but of the future. Of a galaxy where no child would watch their parents die for someone else's greed. Where the strong protected the weak instead of consuming them. Captain Ross took over the Ghost Fleet, now officially renamed the Guardian Fleet. Their mission changed from revenge to protection. They patrolled shipping lanes, responded to distress calls, and reminded everyone that humanity was watching. On the first anniversary of Eden Prime's fall, humanity did something that surprised everyone. They rebuilt the colony. Using resources taken from the Korvax Empire, they constructed a new Eden Prime, bigger, stronger, and protected by the most advanced defense systems in the galaxy. The memorial at its center listed every victim's name. But around it, children played again. Families walked through parks. Life returned to where death had ruled. The dedication ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. President Walker spoke to trillions of beings. We didn't choose this path. It was forced upon us. But we've learned that in this galaxy, you're either the protector or the prey. We choose to be protectors. The Altari ambassador approached Walker after the ceremony. Your species has changed the galaxy forever. Some fear you. Others respect you. What do you want them to feel? Walker looked at the children playing near the memorial. We want them to understand. Touch a human child, harm a human innocent, and you face extinction. Respect our peace, and we'll die defending yours. It's not complicated. 5 years later, the galaxy had adapted to the new order. Wars still happened, but no one targeted civilians anymore. The Eden Doctrine had become universal law, not through legislation, but through fear of consequences. Humanity had become the guardian and the monster, the protector and the destroyer. They stood ready to offer friendship or annihilation, and the choice belonged to those who met them. In the schools of Earth, children learned a new lesson alongside mathematics and history. We are the shield for those who cannot defend themselves. We are the sword against those who would harm the innocent. We are humanity, and we remember Eden Prime. The galaxy had learned humanity's true nature. They were not conquerors seeking empire. They were not destroyers seeking chaos. They were parents, teachers, and guardians who had lost their innocence on Eden Prime and replaced it with iron determination. Never again would innocent blood be spilled without consequence. Never again would humanity watch children die while the galaxy looked away. The fire humanity had brought to the galaxy had burned away the old order. From its ashes rose something new, A galaxy where the innocent were protected, where the strong feared to prey on the weak, where Eden Prime's children had not died in vain. The war was over. The watch had begun. Asterisk.